How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Prehistoric Kingdom video, where today, as the title suggests, I recreated some really cool moments from the Jurassic Park novel. Not the movie. I mean, there are probably some references to the movie here, but mostly the novel. Like, for example, Apatosaurus. Because in the movie, of course, the first dinosaur they encounter, the group encounters, is the Brachiosaurus. But in the novel, the first thing they encounter is an Apatosaurus. And so now we have this beautiful son of a gun just kind of like walking around. Very cool. So yeah, that's the first thing that we're going to see going in. And then we can go and check out the other creatures. Another big one that I wanted to adapt in here was the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In fact, this enclosure right here is the one that inspired me to kind of do this little video. So this is the T-Rex enclosure. Can't really see it, which is a little bit different from the novel because they actually do see the the Tyrannosaurus pretty early on in the book, which is in stark contrast to the movie where they don't really, they struggle to see it at first. So this is pretty accurate to the movie right here. We'll go ahead and go into the tower and see if we can actually get a better sight of it. I hear growl. There it is. There she is. There is the Tyrant Reptile King. That kind of looks sick. I love the fact that we could do this now. But yeah, I gave her like a little bit of an elevated area over here because it's described when they first saw her that she was kind of standing on a little bit of a hill eating the goat. So that's what I gave her right there. And she's gone. But yeah, that is her enclosure right there. She has a ton of space. And I actually quite like the way that it turned out. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm quite a big fan of it. But there is a little bit of a secret. Well, my legs, I broke, I sue. But there is a little bit of a secret in terms of her enclosure. I mean, kind of a secret. It wasn't really a secret in the book, like they told them right away, but it's a secret in this park, because these are mostly just inspired from the novel of Jurassic Park. But it's this divider right here. There are actually two tyrannosaurs. There is a young one here. Somewhere in here. Yeah, in the novel, there's actually two tyrannosaurs. Oh, there it is. It's swimming. It's swimming. Look at it go. There's no viewing area over here because it's mostly like a secret to the public. But yeah, in the novel, there are actually two tyrannosaurs. It's raining. That's kind of fitting. But there are two tyrannosaurs in the novel. There's like an area in the... I'm going to turn that off. There's an area in the T-Rex enclosure in the novel that actually had a little bit of a lake or a pond or something like that. The young T-Rex typically, as they described, hung around that, while the adults just kind of like hung around over there. And so they kind of stayed away from each other, even though they were in the exact same enclosure. Look how cool that one looks. Of course, I'll look at them a little bit closer at the end of the video. But yeah, that's the adolescent Rex over there. I want an adolescent Rex in like an official movie or show or something like that. And like had to have it like as a primary antagonist, because Tyrannosaurus, when he was younger, it actually filled a different niche. It was a lot speedier, more agile, and it probably would be a force to be reckoned with. So yeah, those are the two separations right there, the two little portions of that enclosure. I just put up a wall to make sure that they stayed in their lane. That way they wouldn't mix up a little, like, I didn't want them to mix up at all. I just have this here to kind of like fill all of this empty space. I kind of have it in the tropical theme, which fits Jurassic Park quite nicely. Then there's this enclosure over here, which this one I think is kind of cool. Let's see if we could see them. There's one. Old Dilophosaurus over here. So this is not actually a recreation of their enclosure from the book. Rather, this is a recreation of the river scene where Alan and the kids come across two Dilophosaurs on the shoreline. And then the T-Rex shows up, and there's like a little bit of a confrontation between Dilophosaurus and T-Rex. It's a very cool moment. There's the other one. So I have both of the Dilophosaurs here. I kind of gave them colors that are reminiscent to the colors that are described in the book. But yeah, it's kind of a shallow river, but it's fine. Such a nice model, though, of Dilophosaurus. So they get all of this enclosure, and it's connected to the baby Rexes, except, of course, there's another wall separating them to make sure they don't stray too far from their lane. There's also a waterfall over there, and that's where we're headed next. Isn't that right, little buddy? But from there, you'll go through all of the tough foliage. You'll go through all this tough vegetation, and you'll be able to follow the river right here, very shallow river still, to this waterfall. Now, I'm sure if you read the novel, you're probably guessing where this is going. Unfortunately, I can't climb up there, so I'm gonna have to defy the laws of physics. But you can actually go in here. Now, this is actually where Lex and the kids Now, this is actually where Alan and the kids would like hang out, and the T-Rex would poke its head in to try to get Lex and Tim. It's a little bit bigger than it probably was in the book, but I just wanted ample space. And of course, this is where the tranquilizer dart started to work on the Rex, and it kind of slumped over and almost bit off its tongue. It's quite terrifying. But another nice little reference you get is right here. Here at Chirpin, it's a baby velociraptor because they come across a baby velociraptor. I mean, there's a tunnel. There's like a little bit of a maintenance tunnel that Alan goes into, and he comes across the baby velociraptor. That's not what this is. I kind of tried to make it look like a little bit of an enclosure. But yeah, this is basically a reference to that. You get to look into the glass. It's just not really accessible to the public. But that's fine. That is fine. That is fine. But yeah, there's the cute little baby velociraptor back there. So then on top of that, there is one more really cool, kind of interesting little reference that I have that is a little bit hidden. And that is hidden here in the foliage, similar to how that was over there. If you travel through here a little bit and walk, and if you're going in the correct direction and not getting turned around like I am over here, you'll come across a little bit of a chain link fence. And what is this? A baby triceratops. I thought for sure I could jump over that. A baby triceratops. That, Lex finds it. So yeah, there's that. There's our Jurassic Park novel references. This was actually really kind of fun to make. I knocked it out real quick, and I thought it was a fun idea. So let's get a closer look at all of our inhabitants here, starting with the baby triceratops. Sorry, Nigel, but we are talking about it on our own. Yeah, I just what else can I say? I love the baby animals in this game. So we have that, and that's just a little bit of like an oval enclosure. It's mostly suits as like a reference. In here is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Very cool. Gets all of this space, and of course the adolescent T-Rex is in here, where I don't know if I mentioned this, but it was described that this adolescent Rex spends most of its time eating fish. It'll dunk its head into the water and pull out some fish. There you are. Look at it go. Kind of getting a little bit of a recreation of the river scene, except with the adolescent Rex. It's so cool. Yeah, no, the models are still really fantastic. There's really not much else I can say about it. I love the ontogeny update so much. The fact that I can now do stuff like this, that's awesome. And of course, there's the Dilophosaurus over here with their really cool coloration going on right here. Indeed, my friend. Indeed. So cool. So cool. And I put down like a male and a female here. Something that kind of represents that, of course, they were changing, they were swapping sex. And of course, you already saw the baby velociraptor in there. I feel like we got a pretty decent look. But yeah, that is my little Jurassic Park novel inspired enclosures. Be sure to let me know what you guys think. This was more so just like a little bit of a fun thing that I threw together. I thought it would be fun, and I did have fun. It was fun to like kind of rack my brain trying to think of what references I should do, and I quite like the ones that I chose. So yeah, be sure to let me know what you guys think, and yeah, have an awesome day.